Very good morning, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 11th science biology, and we are going to see the chapter number 7, that is the structural organization in animals. First we will see about the basics of this chapter, and then we will shift to the main topics of this chapter. So starting with the structural organization. Structural organization means you are knowing or you are understanding the structure of the organisms, right? So what is the structure of organism and how it is formed, right? So that we are going to see in this chapter. So first, to understand that, we need to know several basics of this chapter, and that is the first is the tissue, right? So tissues are, they are the all cells are well organized and organized and coordinated to work in a group. So what are tissues? So tissues are made up of the group of cells, right? So they are the group of cells which are well organized with each other, and they are coordinated to work within a group. Next, group of similar cells along with intercellular substances perform a specific function. Such an organization is called tissue. So here, when the group of cells which are present, and all this group of cells, they do possess intercellular substances and they play a specific function in the body of the organism, such type of organization is known as the tissue. So tissue was introduced by Beckett, which is known as the father of animal histology, right? So tissue was first coined. The word tissue was first coined by the Beckett, and he is said to be the father of animal histology, right? So to understand that what histology means is, so the histology is the microscopic study of the tissues and organs in relation to their function. So when we are studying in detail about the tissues and the organs, right, we are doing the microscopic study whether what type of cells are present in those organs, right, and the tissues. So we are knowing the tissues as well as the organs, and we are also looking for their functions. So the study of those microscopic tissues and organs is known as the histology. So tissue word was introduced by Beckett, and he was said to be the father of animal histology, right? So the structure of cells vary depending upon their function, right? Now the structure, the particular structure of cells, depending on their function, they are different of different types. Now as the cells are of different types, so the tissue which are formed, they will be also in different forms, right? So here four different types of tissues are observed, right? And this, the types of tissues are being given over here on the basis of location and function. So first thing we are going to see is about based on the location as well as the function. So what exactly the location of the tissue is that, and what is the function they are imparting in the body. So based upon these two things, the four different types of tissues are observed, right? So the first one is the epithelial tissue, right? The epithelium which is present, that is said to be the epithelial tissue. Second is the connective tissue, third is muscular tissue, and the fourth is neural tissue. We are going to see all these four types in detail, right? So the first, let's see about the epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue in singular form, it is simply said as epithelium, right? This epithelial tissue covers both external as well as internal surfaces of the animal body. So the first covering or the first layer, the outermost layer which is present on the body surfaces in as internally as well as externally, right? So those both the covering surfaces are known as epithelial tissue, right? So the epithelial tissue, they covers external as well as internal surfaces of the animal body. Second, it provides a covering or lining for some part of the body. Now it also provides a covering, that means it is providing a cover like structure, and it is also present in the form of lining, right? Say for example, if the stomach is there, then the inner lining, right, we have studied inner lining, right? So that is what some epithelial tissues are also used, or they also provides the covering as well as lining in some part of the body, right? So next is the characteristics, right? Now what are the characteristics of the epithelial tissue? So the two types of epithelial tissues are So now we are going to see about the characteristics of the epithelial tissue. So the cells are compactly arranged. So the first characteristic of the epithelial tissue is that the cells which are present, they are compactly arranged, right? So compactly arranged, that means there will be no spaces which are present in between. Next is the intercellular spaces are narrow. The spaces which are present, that is comparatively narrow. That means as they are compactly arranged with each other, for this reason the intercellular spaces which are present, that are less, or we can say they are narrow. Then no blood vessels are present. Here in this type of cells there will be presence of no blood vessels. It is just a layer which is covering your body parts, or we can say the outer layer, right? Now there are two types of epithelial tissue: simple epithelium and compound epithelium, right? So when we are talking about this, the first type is the simple epithelium, second is compound epithelium. First we will see about the simple epithelium. This simple epithelium is made up of a single layer of cells and function as a living for body cavities, ducts and tubes. Now simple epithelium, it is made up of only single layer. That means a cell layer of is present, and the layer is of only a single type. That means a single layer cell is present and it functions in the body cavities, ducts and tubes. So there is presence of the simple epithelium in the body cavities. That is, in the body cavities this type of simple epithelium is observed, as well as the duct. Say for example the common bile duct, right? That is carrying the secretion from the pancreas and the liver. That is the common bile duct. So that duct is also having the simple epithelium, right? And the layer is present in a single manner. Tubes, that is, you can see the example of nephron also, right? That is also a type of tube only. So there's all things that is containing what? The single layer of made up of the epithelial cell. So if there is presence of single layer of epithelial cells, then that is known as simple epithelium. Second is the compound epithelium, and the compound epithelium is made up of two or more than two cell layers. So here that there will be presence of more epithelial cell layers. In simple, it was present that there was a single layer of epithelial cells, right? Here either this compound epithelium is made up of either two layer of epithelial cells or more than epithelial cell layers are present. And the function of this compound epithelium is protective. That is, the it provides the protection, and the example of it is skin. Your skin is having so many different layers, right? There are distinguished five differentiated layers of your skin. Total there are seven, but initially we can simply say as the five main, right? And for this reason, as these all five layers of the skin is imparting the protection, or it is giving protection to your body. Now there is also some division which is observed in the compound epithelium. So on the basis of the structural modification, so there are some modifications. We can see that the particular simple epithelium is divided into three parts. The first is the squamous epithelium, second is cuboidal, and third is columnar, right? So these are the three epithelium which are on the basis of the structural modification. That means there are some changes or the modifications which are observed in the epithelial cells, right? And for this reason they are forming several different types of shape like structures, and for this reason they are been given this three types of names, that is squamous, cuboidal and columnar, right? So first is the squamous epithelium. It is made up of a single layer of flat cells with irregular boundaries. Now this type of cells, they are made up of single layer. Now see, this is of uh, the first, that is the particular simple epithelium. For this reason, this all the three, that is squamous epithelium, cuboidal as well as columnar, these three of them are going to have single layer of epithelial cells. But what is the difference between them is, you see here that the first squamous epithelium, it says about that it is made up of a single layer, but the cells are comparatively flat in nature, right? And they do possess what? Irregular boundaries. Irregular boundaries means their boundaries are not smooth, right? For this reason, this type of cells or this type of epithelial cells are known as squamous epithelium. So there is a presence of single layer, and the cells are comparatively flat and they have irregular boundaries. And the example of the squamous epithelium is the walls of the blood vessels, right? So the walls of blood vessels is the best example of squamous epithelium, that the blood vessels from inside, they does not possess the smooth surface, but it possess what? The irregular boundaries, and the comparatively the cells are flattened. Second type of epithelium is the cuboidal epithelium, which is again coming under the simple epithelium. This cuboidal epithelium is made up of single layer of cube-like cells, and they are found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of nephron. So cuboidal epithelium, they are again going to be present in single layer, and they are, as here the word itself says, cuboidal. That means the structure of the cells will be cube-like structure, right? And for this reason, this type of cells are known as cuboidal epithelium. This type of cuboidal epithelial cells are found in the ducts of glands, that is, you can see the pancreas, right? So the pancreas is what? The particular, it is going to secrete what? The particular pancreatic juice, so that is carried out by the common bile duct. So again, that duct, there will be the presence of cuboidal epithelium, right? As well as in the nephron also, there will be the tube like structure, and that tubular part is containing what? The cuboidal epithelium. The function, or the function of this cuboidal epithelium is the secretion and absorption. Now this, as you know, that glands and the nephron, these two of them are carrying out, first the glands is carrying out the secretion, right? And the second, the nephron, it is useful in the absorption of the extra water and the minerals, right? So this cuboidal epithelial function is to secrete and absorption of the things, different things in your body. The third type is the columnar epithelium. This columnar epithelium is made up of a single layer of tall and slender cells. Now, this type of cells, again, it will be present in a single layer, and they are comparatively tall, for it's just like a column, right? And they are slender, that means they are comparatively thin. So this type of cells are tall as well as thin in nature, and the nucleus are located at the base. That means they are present at the base, on the at the one which is at the basic, right? Or we can say at the base, at down. Next, free surface may have microvilli. Now, this microvilli, you have studied this microvilli in 10th standard in the small intestine, right? That means this microvilli, it increases the amount, or it increases the rate or amount of the reabsorption, right? The absorption which is taking place in your body. So, same way here, the free surfaces of the columnar epithelium, they may possess the microvilli which do the function of the absorption. Now, this type of columnar epithelial cells are found in lining of stomach and intestine. Now, see, I already told in previous point that is, it is found in the digestive system, and that too main in the small intestine, right? So, in the intestine, there is presence of microvilli. So, you can easily understand or remember that the columnar epithelial cells are found in the stomach lining of the stomach as well as the intestine, and the function of them is to secrete and absorb. In stomach, there is the secretion of the different things, that is the HCl, right? Then the pepsin enzyme. So the secretion is carried out in the stomach, while the absorption is carried out in the intestine, right? So this is about the columnar epithelium. Now, when columnar and cuboidal cells, right, these two of them, if they bear the cilia on surface, then they are said to be ciliated epithelium. See, columnar cells, that is the these two cells, right? Columnar cells and the cuboidal cells. When these two of the cells are having cilia, right? Cilia is mainly found in paramecium. Let's remember paramecium for it. Paramecium do possess hair-like structure on its body, and that is known as cilia. Again, this cilia are responsible, or they are doing the function of locomotion in the body, or it imparts the ability in the organism to locomote, right? That means it is useful for passing or transferring from one place to another, for locomoting from one place to another. So when this columnar and cuboidal cells, if these two of them are having cilia on their surface, then they are said to be ciliated epithelium. This can be asked in the MCQ. For this reason, here it has been underlined, right? the function, they are present on the inner surface. Now this cilia are present on the inner surface in order to do their functions in proper manner for the secretion as well as the absorption. The function of this type of ciliated epithelium is to locomote, right? That is, again, cilia are responsible for imparting the locomotion to the body, right? Now, next is the glandular epithelium. Then the columnar cell or cuboidal cell gets specialized for secretion, right? Glandular, that means glands. So here what happens? The glandular epithelium means the particular epithelial cells which are responsible for secreting specialized secretions, right? So when the gland, say for example the endocrine glands, exocrine glands, right? So they are secreting their secretion, right? So for this reason this type of cells are observed in those type of secretions, right? So when the columnar cell and cuboidal cells, when they are being specialized and they are present for the secretion only, then that type of epithelial cells are known as glandular epithelium. This glandular epithelium, they are of two types, right? So first is unicellular and second is multicellular. Unicellular means they are isolated glandular cells. Isolated, that is the separated, right? That means in unicellular what will be there? They are separated from each other and they are present for the secreting function. For this reason they are unicellular in nature, right? And the example of is goblet cells which are found in the stomach. In the stomach you find three different types of cells, right? And which are going to do the different types of function. So amongst them one is goblet cell, and this goblet cell is responsible for secreting the mucus, right? Second is the multicellular, that is the cluster of cells, right? Here there is presence of only separated glandular cells. That means unicellularly it was present, but when you are talking about multicellular, there will be presence of so many cells together with each other. The example of it is the salivary glands. This salivary glands are present in bunch, and the cells which are present in it, they are performing its function in the production of the saliva. Next, there is also presence of the exocrine, right? That is, exocrine glands are also there, and they secrete their secretion, they are released through ducts or tubes. So this is also one of the important point of this, that is the it is released, this exocrine secretion is released through ducts or tube, because exocrine you have learned this in standard 10th, that the exocrine glands, they do what, they release their secretion inside the ducts or tubes, while the endocrine glands are directly released inside the blood. So here I have written about that the the exocrine glands release their secretion through ducts or tubes, while and they secrete what, the mucus, saliva, etc. Mucus is for goblet cells, saliva is for the salivary glands, right? So these two of them are showing two different types, right? So this is about exocrine, second is an endocrine, where endocrine secretion is directly released into the blood. So in the bloodstream the direct secretion is poured, and for this reason they does not need any ducts or tubes, and for this reason endocrine glands are said to be the ductless glands, right? So this is about the simple epithelium. The second type is the compound epithelium. In compound epithelium, this epithelium is made up of multi-layered cells. We have already seen the difference between them. That in simple epithelium, only single layer of epithelial cell is present, while in compound epithelium, there is presence of more than two epithelial layers, right? This particular type of epithelium has limited role in secretion and absorption. Now, this compound epithelium, they are present in they are imparting function in the secretion and absorption, but not as the simple epithelial cells. They do have limited role. That means they do not possess or they do not perform the main role in the secretion and absorption. The main function of this compound epithelium is the protection. But against what? So they impart the protection, or they give the protection against the chemical and mechanical stress. So there is presence of two different types of stress, and the compound epithelium, they give the protection against them, chemical stress and the mechanical stress. Now there is presence of three types of cell junctions, right? The tight junction, adhering junction, and gap junction. This can be asked in the SQ, that is define the three types of cell junctions, right? So you have to write this three types and you have to mention these points also, right? So this, in this, the tight function, the word itself says tight, that means it is stopping the, it stops the leakage of the substance across a tissue. So here when we are talking about the tight junction, that means it does not allow anything to enter inside, or it does not allow the particular whatever is present inside, it does not allow to go out, right? So that is that it stops the leakage. So across the tissue there will be no leakage which is found, and that is due to the tight junctions. Second is the adhering junctions. Adhering means to stick to each other, right? So here the adhering junction, they join the cells together. So they, what they do is, all the cells are adhered, or all the cells are joined with each other, they are stick to each other, and that is what the adhering junction. Third is the gap junction. Again, the word itself says there will be presence of some gap, right? So which allows what, the transferring of the ions and the different types of important molecules. So this allows the communications of one cell to other by connecting cytoplasm of adjoining cells. So if the cells are adjoiningly present with each other, right, one cell is going to communicate with the another cell with the connection which is observed in the cytoplasm. So there will be presence of two cells and there will be one connection which is observed in between them, which is useful for the transferring of the ions as well as some molecules, right? So this is about the third type of junction, and that is the gap junction. So here the three type of cell junctions are observed in the compound epithelium, and they are doing the function of the protection. First is the tight junction, second is the adhering junction, third is the gap junction, right? So here we complete the first type of tissue, and that is the epithelial tissue. The second type of tissue is the connective tissue. In the connective tissue, this type of tissues are widely distributed in the body. See, everywhere the blood is present, and for this reason, at each and every part of your body is containing what, the connective tissue. The function of this tissue is the linking and supporting other tissue or organs. So the function of the connective tissue is to link the different types of tissues or organs, as well as it is also supporting the tissues and organs of the body, right? Now this connective tissue, they range from soft connective tissue to specialized types, that is cartilage, bone, adipose, and blood, right? So here this particular range, the range that is the connective tissue range is observed, that is some are present in the form of soft connective tissue, and some are also forming hard connective tissue, or we can say some are forming specialized structure or types, that is cartilage, bone, adipose, and blood. Except blood, cell secretes fibers of proteins called collagen or elastin, right? So except the blood cells, that means the blood cells which are present, so the blood contains different types of cells in it. So except those cells, the cell secretes the fibers of proteins. That means there is release or there is secretion which is observed of the fibers as well, fibers of protein, which are known as collagen, right? So the collagen or elastin, so these are known as, they are the fibers of proteins which are secreted by the different types of cells except the blood cells, right? Next is the particular fibers. These fibers, they provide what, the strength, elasticity, and flexibility. Strength means what, they provide the particular strength, that is to fight or they to provide. For example, there is presence of the, when you are injured, right? So there is presence, there are so many different types of cells which are present, but amongst them there are even specialized cells also, you will see in detail when we will study this. But there are few cells also which are imparting strength, like for example, if you are injured, then the blood clotting is taking place, right? So if the blood clotting is taking place, then how it is taking place, so that is imparting the strength. Second, elasticity, that is the particular elasticity and flexibility, that is how much the cells is comparatively flexible in nature and elastic in nature, right? So this fibers, they provide three things: the strength, elasticity, and flexibility. Next is they are divided into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. The first is the loose connective tissue. This loose connective tissue, they are fibers that are loosely arranged in semi-fluid ground tissue. See, this loose connective, the word itself says they are not tightly joined with each other, but they are loosely connected with each other, right? So as they are loosely connected with each other, they are present in semi-fluid ground tissue. Semi-fluid, that means a fluid is present, but it is a gel-like fluid, right? So these are present in those type of tissue. In that, we are going to see about the areolar tissue as well as the. So in loose connective tissue, we are going to see first is areolar tissue and second is adipose tissue. In areolar tissue, they are present under the skin. So the areolar tissue, they are present under the skin, and the function of the areolar tissue is to support the epithelium, right? So the epithelial cells are being supported by specialized tissue which are known as areolar tissue. They have fibroblast, right? Fibroblast, macrophages, and mast cells. These are the three types of cells. They produce what? This fibroblast, they produce the fibers, right? This macrophage, they are fighting against the antigens, that is the foreign particles which are harmful to your body, as well as the mast cells. These mast cells are helpful in the allergic reactions, right? So this is about the first type of loose connective tissue, that is areolar tissue. Second is adipose tissue. They are also present under the skin, and the function of this tissue is to store fats, right? Excessive nutrients which are converted to fats, and they are stored in the adipose tissue. Second type is the dense connective tissue. In the dense connective tissue, the fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed with each other. So the fibers, the fibroblasts are also going to form the fibers, as well as several fibers are also present. These two of them are connected, or they are compactly packed with each other. In dense connective tissue, two types are observed: dense regular and dense irregular. In dense regular, the word itself says regular, means the fibers orientation, it will be shown as a regular pattern. That means same type is seen. But when we are talking about dense irregular, there will be presence of irregular pattern which is observed. In the dense regular, the collagen fibers are present in rows between bundles of fibers. See, in dense regular, what happens? The collagen fiber, right? That is those fibers which were observed or which were formed by the different types of cells. So those collagen fibers, they are present in rows, and they are present in between the bundles of the fibers. The example of it is tendons, and these tendons are attached to skeletal muscle, to bones and ligaments that attach one bone to another. Now see, there are presence of so many bones, but how they are attached with each other in your body? So that is due to the presence of the dense regular tissues, right? And the example of is tendons. Second is dense irregular, and in that the collagen fibers are present differently. So here the collagen fibers are not present in a single manner or in a same manner, but they are present in irregular manner, and the example of it is skin. So the skin, the layer of skin, they do possess the different types of cells. The third type is a specialized connective tissue. Here you are going to see about the cartilage, bones, and the blood, right? So in this, the first we see is cartilage. The intercellular material is solid and pliable, something that can be easily bent without breaking. So cartilage, that means they simply, you can remember or recollect your ear, right? So your ear is what you can move, but it does not break. So it is made up of, the intercellular material is solid, but it is pliable. That is, if you bend, then it is not breaking. They are made up of chondrocytes, right? There are specialized cells which are observed in the cartilage. They are present in the tip of nose, outer ear joints, between adjacent bones. So these are the places where this cartilage is observed. Second is bones. Now you already know about the bones. The hard and non-pliable, right? The bones are very hard and they are non-pliable. That means you cannot bend them, right? They are rich in calcium salts and collagen fibers. They do possess more amount of collagen fibers. For this reason, they are comparatively hard. They are rich in calcium salts. For this reason, if less amount of calcium is there in the body, then they can lead to the deficiencies, right? Then they provide structural frame to the body. Now this particular bones, they impart the structure to your body. Without the fixing or without the presence of the bones, you cannot have the proper shape of your body. Then these bones support and protect the soft tissues and organs. The Function of this bones, right, this bones is to support as well as protect the tissues and organs of your body. In this bones, as the particular cartilage was containing the chondrocytes, this particular bones, they are containing osteocytes, and these cells are the bone cells. They are said to be the bone cells, and which are present in the spaces which are known as lacunae. So there is presence of a space which is known as lacunae in the bones, where the bone cells are present. The limb bones are long bones of leg. The function of limb bones is to weight bearing, right? The limb bones, that is the two different types of limbs are there, the upper limbs and the lower limbs. The lower limbs function, that is the bones of the leg, its function is to bear the weight of the whole body. The interaction with skeletal muscle for movement. Now these particular bones are interconnected with the skeletal muscles, and the skeletal muscles are imparting the movement to your body. There is presence of bone marrow in the between of the bones, and this bone marrow's function is to produce the blood cells. So the blood cells are produced by the bone marrow, and this bone marrow is present in between the bones. The third and the last type of the specialized connective tissue is the blood. Blood is said to be the fluid connective tissue, as it connects the different tissues, right? Now, as it is fluid, that means it is in liquid part. This blood is containing of two things, the plasma and the blood cells. In the blood cells, three type of cells are observed: RBC, WBC, and platelets. RBC means red blood cells, WBC means white blood cells, and platelets are the useful when they are when the blood clotting process is carried out. And the function of the blood is to transport of various substances. So blood transports various substances from one place to another. So here we complete the second type of tissue, and that is the second tissue, that is the connective tissue, right? So today we have seen about the two types of tissues. Now fastly, I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.